All right, welcome everybody. I am so excited for tonight's Zoom. We have two absolute rock stars on tonight with us, and it's so special that they just happen to be besties. We've got Ambassador Diamond, Sheyenne Knox, and Presidential Diamond, Morgan Martin. I absolutely love both of them so much and have gotten to, spend so much time with them at different It Works events and gotten to know them so well. I know you guys are absolutely going to love everything that they have to share tonight. Morgan and Shay, I think I told you guys, but one reason, our team specifically have been asking for you. And one reason they're just so excited to hear from you is just how successful you guys have been in the business, being young, not, being able to brand yourself successfully, not being a mom. And so I'm just so excited for you guys to share all your tips, anything you feel in your heart to share. I don't know if you guys just want to start out just just telling your story, and then we can kind of just go back and forth with whatever you guys feel led to share tonight. Shay, do you want to go ahead and go first?
Yeah, I can go. Hi, guys. I'm so excited to do this with y'all. If y'all don't know me, I'm Sheyenne Knox. I'm 22 now. I've only been able to say that on like 2 Zooms now. I'm 22. I've been in the business for 4 years and just a couple of months. I joined when I was 18, and I really wasn't looking for this at all. I just was broke. And so when I came across this opportunity on the Discover page, actually, I read the post, messaged her, and joined within 36 hours. Because I didn't have anything to lose, and I also didn't have any expectations of this working either. And so within my first month, I promoted to Ruby. There was a $500 Ruby bonus at the time. And so when I saw that paycheck, it truly was like, oh, well, if I could do that quickly, what more could I do with this? And so I just kept going. I kept promoting. I promoted the next month to Emerald. Within my first 5 months, I went Diamond 3 days after I graduated high school, still feeling like I had no idea what I was doing, just ignorance on fire. Nobody was working on my team. I was just a lone ranger, just knocking it out. And then I went to college, and I put this business on the back burner, just expecting it to keep working itself, I guess, and sat at Diamond maintaining executive for 11 months until I realized after my first conference that I truly could do anything that I wanted to do with this business after seeing so many people stand on stage sharing all these stories of where they came from. And I was like, if these people are doing this, then what the heck am I even doing? So I started working. I went double diamond the next month. We went triple diamond 90 days later, presidential diamond 90 days after that. We were number 94 income earner, from going from making $400 that January, maintaining executive, to, that whole year going all the way to presidential diamond. It's the craziest thing I've ever done. And then right after that, I purchased my car, and then I've been able to purchase this home. And a couple months later, we went ambassador this past April, and it's just been a crazy ride. And it's all from that one decision that I made of just, if they can do it, so can I. And I can say one thing that truly got me to where I am, and there's really no other tips that I have other than obviously doing the daily non-negotiables. It's just consistency. I am consistent as heck. And I can say that from the rooftops. There's never been a day after I decided after that conference that I have not shared this business with people, that I have not posted on my social media. You can honestly say that you go to my story on my Instagram or go to my social media, and I am all over it every single day. And I consistently share this because I just know what I have my hands on, and I'm confident. And it was from that moment that I found that confidence of, I may not be making any money. I may have made $117 this month, but I'm going to be confident as heck every single day. I've shared that every single day with that same confidence, no matter what my paycheck was, no matter what was going on in my life, no matter what the current state of my team was. I would just persevered every single time. And, because of that, we're now the youngest Ambassador Diamond team, and I am going double Diamond 2.0 this month. And I think that's really it.
I love it so much. Your story of going from executive to pres in the same year is so inspiring. And I hope everyone on here who has not heard that yet before, if you're wondering like, oh, did I hear her say that right? Like, yes, you did. I've heard Shay tell this story in great detail, and it's so amazing and such a huge reminder that it doesn't matter what's going on right now. It doesn't matter where you are right now. A split decision, you can turn it all around. And not just that, you can truly make up for lost time. Like, Shay was a diamond when she graduated high school, which is just crazy to even say. Like, that's so amazing. That just truly goes to show you this business is for anyone and everyone if you just are willing to work for it. But even after having a hiccup in the road, like, she truly made up for lost time, was a number 94 income earner for the year. That's just so incredible. So I love so much hearing you say that every single time, Shay. It never gets old. But yeah, Morgan, do you want to go ahead and tell your story?
Yes. Okay. I'm so excited. So I'm Morgan, and in 3 days, actually, it'll be my 6-year anniversary with this business. And I started whenever I was 20 years old. I was in college. I was brand new to this area. I live in Michigan now, but I'm originally from Mississippi. So I had just moved from there whenever I started this. And I was in school full time. I had 2 jobs. I was so busy. And basically that was why I was nervous to do this. I thought I didn't have time. I thought that I didn't know enough people. And I decided to do it anyways, just because I was putting gas and groceries on credit cards. So I was like, okay, well, what I'm doing right now isn't working. So what do I have to lose? And I did not think I'd be successful. In 2014, when I joined, I didn't know what network marketing was, and I had never heard it been called that before. I didn't know that that's like what people did. I didn't know that it was like a thing people had been doing for a long time, and I didn't know people were actually successful with it. So I saw this girl posting, and I saw that she was making as much money from her phone while she was in school as I was working as a full-time nanny, watching 3 kids 4 days a week. And I was like, if she can do that, I can make $100. Like, I didn't join to do what she did because I didn't think that was possible. I thought she was like a unicorn. But I was like, I don't have anything else to lose. Like, where I'm going is not where I want to be in a year. So if I'm still here in a year from now, I'm not going to be excited about my life. So I need to change something. So I decided to go all in, and I don't do anything halfway. I went like 100% dove in head first, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Wasn't really taught what to do. 2014 was totally different. We have way better social media now than we did back then. But I did all the wrong things. And I'm so thankful that I did, because it taught me what to do that was right? Like, I learned what not to do by doing it all. Like, I just got started before I really knew what I was doing. I was ignorance on fire. And that's one of the best parts that, my story is that I didn't wait till I knew everything, because if I had, I would have still been waiting, because you're never going to know everything. You're never going to have it all figured out. So I jumped in, went Ruby in 4 months, and my story is a lot slower than Shay's if we're comparing, but I always like to talk about the fact that I didn't compare in my business. So whenever I first started, somebody asked me on a Zoom, and I told them it took me 4 months to go Ruby. They were like, did you get discouraged that it took you 4 months to go Ruby? I was like, absolutely not. I thought I was like the stuff. I thought I was doing so good. I thought I was like the first one to go Ruby. Like, I had no idea people were doing it in 30 days. I had no idea people went diamond in 90 days. I was sitting here going Ruby like, check me out. Like, I was excited. And I think that that's why I never got super discouraged at the beginning of my business, because I wasn't looking left and looking right. I wasn't paying attention to what other people were doing, because I didn't care. I didn't join for them. So I was watching top leaders, but I wasn't letting myself compare. I just looked at them and got inspired and thought, if they can do that, I can do that. So that's what I did. And then, so for the time I went Ruby, it took me a year to go diamond, and I promoted to emerald and diamond in the same day, earned bonuses, quit my jobs. That was in 2016. And then a year later, actually 13 months later, I went double. And then 2 months later, I went triple. And my now husband went double. We earned tons of bonuses. And then that's when he got to quit his job. And then in October of 2018, so 2 years ago, we went presidential, and we're about to go ambassador, Lord willing. We're going to go like ASAP. I'm so excited. I'm freaking ready to do it. And, at the end of the day, this business, there's nowhere else that I could be here for 6 years and do what we've done. There's nowhere else that I could go that I could make the type of money that I make in a month than like what I make here. Like, there's nowhere else that the friendships, they're going to be the same as they are here, so like no matter what, there's nothing to lose and everything to gain by staying the course. So if it takes me 2 more years to go ambassador, is that worth it to me? Yeah, it is, because I know that I'm going to get there if I don't give up. And so it's not going to take me 2 years. Mark my words, it's not going to take me that long. But I'm saying, if it does, like, are you willing to stick it out? So for those of y'all who feel like, oh, well, I can't go executive to presidential in 1 year, or, like, I didn't do that. That's not my story. That's not how fast I went. It's okay. Like, know that you can do that. Look at Shay and be like, dude, that's possible. And then look at me and be like, but if that doesn't happen for me, it's still okay. And like, I'm still going to be here. And we're a top income earning team as well, top 30. And we're excited. We're ready to go all the way, go ambassador 2.0, go double ambassador. We're just hyped. So yes, every story is unique and your story is your own. So I'm excited to be on the Zoom.
I love that so much, Morgan. It took me, I don't know if you know this, but it took me 4 months to go Ruby too. And I could not agree with you more that, because I was the same way. Like I saw people going Ruby that joined the same month as me. They were going the same month, like in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But I knew at the end of the day, like, okay, it's all going to work out for me. And what's so crazy is like when I went Diamond 3 months after I went Ruby, so I went Diamond in 7 months, a lot of those same Rubies who were Ruby before me and went Ruby in like 2 or 3 weeks had already quit because they were bummed they didn't go Diamond yet. And so like, I always like to tell people, like, not everything is what it seems. And that's not to say someone that goes Ruby quickly is going to quit. That's not what I'm saying. But like, you've got to keep your head down and stay focused, because the same people that maybe have really quick success don't have the faith to go long. And if you do have the faith to go long, it doesn't matter if you're a little bit slower, like you're still going to get there. And I love so much that you shared, like you and Shay are best friends and you're not at all intimidated that she went ambassador first. Like it doesn't matter to you because you know you're going to go and you know you're still making amazing money. That really stood out to me when you said nowhere else in corporate America you could pay me what I'm making. So like, it's fine. I think that so often if we, allow ourselves to feel defeated or allow ourselves to feel like, oh my gosh, well, I'm not going as fast as such and such, like you lose sight of the bigger picture. Like I could never make this type of money anywhere else. So what's wrong with me? Why don't I just snap out of it? So thank you so much for just being so transparent about that. Cause I know that there's definitely people on here who can relate to both of you guys. There's people on here who maybe have gone really fast. And there's people on here who maybe are like so close to a breakthrough. And I know that you sharing that just spoke to them so much. So, okay, whoever wants to go first, I would love so much for you guys to just dive in and talk a little bit about how you brand yourself not having kids. I think so often people see so many moms in this business and so many top leaders are moms that people just assume like, oh, well, if you don't have kids, you don't have anything to talk about. And obviously you guys can completely debunk that in like 3 sentences, because we see how beautiful your Instagrams are and you're so good at sharing this business in a natural way and staying authentic to yourself. And you don't have kids yet. So if you guys just want to jump right in, whoever wants to go first and talk about that.
I'll go. Okay, so I remember when I first started this business and I was that person that followed everybody. I was like, I need to know everybody and what you're doing and how you're doing it. And that's when I started seeing all these people that had kids and houses and these stories of paying off debt and all this stuff. And I literally was an 18-year-old that had nothing to her name, was going to college for who knows what. Like I had no idea. I had no kids, no animals. I really didn't have a big family. I didn't have a lot of friends. And so I was like, I have to like post every day about stuff that I don't have anything to post about. And I used to let that hold me up and I used to not post. I really didn't. I didn't use my Instagram for the first 5 months of my business because I was terrified of posting, because it was back in the day when like selfies were kind of fading out. Like selfie game was like a big thing, like Selfie Sunday. Do you remember that? Yeah, and then it went away. And then I started the business and I was like, well, I can't post a selfie because Selfie Sunday isn't a thing anymore. I remember that so vividly. And then I realized that this business truly started bringing out the things in me that I didn't know that I had. It brought out different talents that I had and different hobbies that I had and things that I was good at that were never revealed before I joined this business. And so that's when I started finding things that I liked and things about myself that I could share that I normally would not have shared if I wasn't in this business. Like how many of y'all raise your hand if you've already stepped out of your comfort zone being in this business in the first place, and then you have to keep stepping out of your comfort zone like every single day. And so I found that, I love to travel, but I didn't even know that until I joined this business and had the freedom to travel. I literally was that person that was like, oh, I don't really care to travel, because it was not ever a thing that I ever even got to think about, because dreaming wasn't a thing growing up. And so that's what I mean by this business revealing things about me that I didn't know that I liked. Like home decor. I never thought I'd be able to buy home decor, because growing up, we didn't have anything on the wall because we couldn't afford it. Like I love decorating my house and I love doing all these things that I didn't know that I was ever going to do. And I know that seems so deep, but it's like, as you consistently grow yourself in this business and you start reading and, listening to podcasts and getting on these Zooms and watching other leaders, you realize what you can do and the things that you love about your life that you didn't have before. So, when I think about my brand, I don't have kids. I don't have dogs. I'm single. I'm not married. I live in this house by myself. So when I think about things that I love, it's not things that have to do with any of that. I love shopping. I love traveling. I love TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx is a part of my brand, you guys. It's a store, but it's my brand. Taco Bell, talk about it every single day. Everybody knows when they go to my Instagram, like the other day, this is a great interaction post for you. Go on your story and put one of those question boxes and say, what is the 5 things that you think of me first when I say like my name? Like what are the first 5 things? I guarantee you people would say TJ Maxx, Taco Bell, home decor, traveling, this business, like all those things are what people think of. And so if you do that and people don't know, you're not sharing enough about your life. And a lot of times I have people on my team, they're like, I'm just not that interesting. And then now they're like the most bold, audacious people after they've been in this business a little bit, because they realize things about themselves that they once were either hiding or didn't know they had. So I challenge you to ask a sideline, ask Brittani, message your leader and say, what are things that you think of when you think of me? And hone in on those. Like if it's photography, if it's horses, if it's dogs, if it's graphic tees, if you like to make things on a Cricut, I don't care what it is, just find those things and talk about them, because those are what's going to connect you to your potentials, and that's what's going to grow your business.
I love that so much. And I love that you just like honed in on TJ Maxx, because I feel like it's impossible to look at your page and not know right away that you're obsessed with TJ Maxx. And so that right there should show you, like, if you're sitting there thinking, I have nothing to talk about, there's nothing I like you're thinking way too off base. Like you got to hone back into what are things you actually like, because everyone likes something. Another thing that really stood out to me, Shay, is I love so much that you said, I never thought I cared to travel, but it's because it wasn't an option. I never would have thought I cared about home decor because it wasn't an option. I think so often in the business when people are like, I just don't really care about anything, I don't have any dreams, it's because no, you've never thought things were an option. And if you actually got down to it and asked yourself, if money was no object for me and I had all the money in the world, what would I do? You'll start thinking of things you actually would do, I promise you. So often I think it's almost like a defense mechanism. Like we don't want to let ourselves down and we don't want to experience discouragement. So we're like, oh, I don't really care about any of that. I don't care about nice things. And I just like to live a simple life. And like, there's nothing wrong with living a simple life. That's not what I'm saying. But so often we say that because we're scared to fail. We're scared that if we go out there and say we want bigger things, we want to travel, we want to do these things, we'll let ourselves down. And so I love that you were just so real about that, Shay, because I know right now there's people on here that can relate to that. Drop a 1 in the comments if you're on here and there's things that you didn't realize you cared about until after you started the business. I know that I can definitely say that for myself too. Morgan, what are some ways that you absolutely love to brand yourself? Just anything at all kind of along that same question line that you want to share?
Yeah, so Shay, unlike Shay, so neither of us have kids yet, but unlike Shay, I am married and I do have a dog. So I do have those 2 things that I do post about. Those are 2 of my pillars. So there's a thing that I started doing a couple weeks ago because I was struggling with branding myself and I just felt like I was kind of all over the place. And for me, there was a season in this business on social media where you just posted you posted 6 times a day and it was all about the business and the products. And it was like all about like random quotes and stuff. It was just weird. It was a weird time. I kind of lost myself a little bit. I was like, I don't know who I am outside of It Works anymore. Like, what do I even like to do? Anyway, so there are ways that I found to brand myself. Okay, so here's what I do. If you're more of like I like to have like, not necessarily a schedule, but like things written out, things outlined, like a list. I love lists. So that helps me to kind of stay on track. It makes me feel like I'm in control. So something that I did was I wrote down, I said, who do I want to be on social media? And this is just like in a note on my phone. So I don't mean like, who do I want to be seen as that I'm not? It's who do I want to be perceived as on social media if I'm being my best self? Well, my best self, I'm showing that I'm a Christian because that is part of who I am. So I post about Bible verses and I'll do, like song quotes that I love or like sermon notes that I got, things like that. And then I'll also I want to be helpful. So however I can help people love whenever you add value to them, right? So I don't have like kid stuff that I can be helpful with right now because I don't really know a lot about that, but I do work out. So there's something I can use to be helpful with people, whether it's just like an encouragement, like you got this, get out and move today, or whether I like write out what my workout was and encourage them to do that. I don't really cook, but I've taken it up so that I could have something to post about for content. So I was like, I just decided that I was going to try 1 new recipe a week and I was going to post about it. So it's like a little simple soup or whatever. And I'm like, oh, this is really great. And I'll talk about like how it's nutritious and all of those things because I do eat pretty healthy. I have anxiety and OCD. So if you can't tell, I have OCD, but I have both of those things. And so I talk about overcoming those things. I talk about how I overcome anxiety. I started using this journal and that has gotten me so many just people interacting with me and asking about that journal and using it. So that's something that I do. So under those topics, I'll write out what I want to do for that week about that topic. So whenever I'm thinking like, oh, what do I want to post about today? Oh, I could post that workout that I talked about, you know, like kind of like set up my stuff on Sunday before the week starts. And I just kind of use this template and this guideline to figure out what I want to post about. So that recipe is going to be different. What I talk about regarding anxiety is going to be different. The workout's going to be different, but it's all going to be about the same stuff. I'm going to talk about my dog. I'm going to talk about being a wife. I'm going to talk about this business and the products, obviously. So I kind of just like set up a bunch of different posts, or at least the ideas. So whenever I'm out with my dog on a walk, I think, hey, I should take a picture of this because this is part of who I am. And I want to show this, and this is something not about the business. So that's kind of how I've branded myself. And it's funny because people will come up to me and they're like, how's Nala? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot this person's name. And then like, turns out we've never met, but they just like know me from social media, and they know my dog and her name, and they ask how my trip was. And I'm like, what trip? But like, they know where I've been, and like, they just keep up with your life, and people actually do pay attention more than you think. And they're interested in the littlest things, right? So it doesn't have to be anything crazy. So that's kind of what I do.
I love that so much. I thought that tip about how you don't like to cook, but you started cooking one new recipe a week. That's so golden. Like that right there shows you can take up anything new and use it as a way to add value and keep people interested. And I love so much just how simple that is, because that can be applied to anything. Like if you don't work out right now, you could start working out, and you could learn a new workout or do a new video or something and share that every week. You could do that with like crafts with your kids. Those of you who are moms on here. I feel like you could just do that with so many things. I love that so much. That's golden. Yeah. So, okay. Kind of going on from here, that you guys have shared like how you like to brand yourself. What would you guys say are things that you learned starting the business young that you feel like were a big advantage to you? Like something you want to share to people on here who are similar age to you guys that you feel like is or maybe they're at the age that you guys were when you started, that you feel like, hey, this is why it was such a leg up for me to join when I did, not the other way around. And then what are things maybe that you feel like, you know, maybe a mistake that you made that you had to learn the hard way through, that if you could impart that wisdom onto people listening and help them avoid that, you would? Shay, do you want to go first?
So the answer to the first question, the reason that I think that, you know, this is for me and Morgan, I know, is young people are already on social media. Like I was already using it. I was already posting. I was already sharing the things that I love. And the biggest thing about today with social media is everyone is sharing something. And people are like, oh, I could never do that. I'm like, you just shared candles from Bath & Body Works yesterday and the coupon code, but you wouldn't be good at this business. Why? It's just changing the products. And so I think that the power of being young and already being good at social media is what we have. It's what our team Whoa. It's what our team has too, is just a leg up of just automatically knowing how to post on our story, automatically knowing how to take pictures, automatically knowing how to like utilize every platform that we have. And so I share that with people on my story a lot. I'm like, look, you're already on social media. You're already posting. You're already sharing those things that you love. Like, and when Morgan was talking about like the content and stuff, when I was at her house, she got her BoxyCharm in the mail, and she like waited. She was like, this is my content for tomorrow. I don't have anything to post because there's nothing going on. You have no idea how many times I've taken a video or waited to share something because I had a lot of stuff on my story today, but tomorrow my life's going to be boring because I don't have anything to do, and I have no kids, and I have no husband, and I have no nothing. So I've got to spread that content out, make it last, because I'm not that fun. So I have to make sure that I have stuff in between. So if you get a cool package in the mail and you've already posted on your story about something cool you did, just save it, okay? Or just change the shirt so it looks different day, okay? That's the tip for us. But that's the thing, work smarter, not harder. And I think that's what most of us that are young on social media know how to do already, is just wing it and use the platforms that we already have. And we're also really good at following other people and saying, okay, Morgan posted that, I'm going to make a rendition, I'm going to make my own. That's all I do. I'm just basically clicking copy and paste through life. It's what I do with all my TikToks. I go to Morgan's and copy hers. I didn't come up with the ideas, they're from her. And then we do the same thing together. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, you asked if like I could go back and change something that I did. Are we talking about social media or business wise?
Anything. So anything that you're like, man, if I could go back and tell myself several years ago to do this differently, I would do it. Whatever you feel like is something that you wish you could have avoided.
Something I wish that I could have avoided was my angry leader stage. Everybody goes through it, and I do think I learned a lot through it. And so I guess I am glad I went through it, but I think we all get into this headspace when we first get started, and we're so hungry for this business to work. We want to promote so bad, we will literally cut off our right arm to do it. And when you start getting people onto your team and they don't have the same vision as you, you start taking it out on them. And I remember I had my diamond chart out And thank goodness for my yellow, super sensible and sweet leader, Courtney Vogel, for keeping me grounded in this moment, because I would just erase people. Like, they were dead to me if they didn't work, and if they didn't see the same vision that I had, and if they weren't, you know, as hungry for this business as I was, I just didn't even give them the time of day. I never respected them at the level they were at, because I didn't ever think, oh, maybe people don't need this business as much as I do. Maybe they have more than 20 cents in their bank account because that's all I had. You know, maybe they're working multiple jobs and they just joined this as a side hustle, and I'm over here trying to force them to be full time. Like, I wasn't meeting people where they were at. And so that was my biggest regret from the very beginning. And what took me so long to promote was that I didn't meet people at the level they were at and teach them and show them why they needed to be where I was. You know, now when people join, like, we talk really heavily on color languages, and I know that y'all all talk about that on your team too, and understand that not everybody understands things the same way, and not everybody works the same way or learns the same way, or, you know, understands what we're talking about on a Zoom the same way. Like, you have Morgan, she loves lists, she's super organized, she scratches things off. I don't even own a calendar, okay? I don't even know what that's like, because I don't care about that stuff. That stuff stresses me out and I hate it. I have people on my team that are over here like reading the compensation plan. I couldn't even tell you what any of it says because I don't look at it. That's just not the way that I work. And so learning to meet people where they're at is probably my biggest regret that I never did until I started doing it. And that's when I promoted super fast, was I figured out what people needed from me in different ways. Instead of saying, oh, you don't work the business like me, I'll go find another one. I'll go find the Cheyennes of the world. Not everyone on my team is supposed to be just like me. That's like going to Thanksgiving dinner and everyone bringing turkey. Like, where's the mashed potatoes? Where's the stuffing? Where's the gravy? You got to have it all. And that's just kind of how it is. So
I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that, Shay. I think that especially those of us on here who are red can really relate to that, because like, we're ready to go for it. We're ready to go all in, and we're ready to go hard, and we don't care what we have to sacrifice to get there. And it can definitely feel frustrating if you're wired that way, when people on your team are not working that way. But I just love so much that you said, but you have to remember, maybe they didn't join for the same reason that you did. You know, I think that some people don't see, number one, the vision when they get started. They don't see what's possible. They really do only think they can earn a couple $100. And it might take a long time for their eyes to open and realize that they not only can make so much more than that, but they're worth so much more than that. But then number two, you know, people have just different ways they operate. And so I think that, you know, I can definitely relate to that a lot too, Shay. I know that around the time I went triple diamond, that was definitely something I had to learn real quick. And we have like a saying on our team now: we run with the runners, we walk with the walkers. Zach also likes to throw on the end and we wave at the passersby, but I don't say that. I just say we run with the runners and walk with the walkers. Because I think that really, like, as a leadership team, and we have people from every rank on here tonight, because this is our normal team, our normal Monday night team huddle. But I think, like, as far as from a leadership standpoint, it is so important to know, like, it's okay if someone needs you to hold their hand and go slow, but then there are going to be those people who are like you and want to sprint with you. And so learn to do both, because that's truly like the mark of a great leader, someone who can do both. So, okay, Morgan, do you need me to repeat the questions, or do you know?
I think I got it. Okay, so the first thing is, you know, how it was such an advantage that I joined really young. And one thing that, you know, obviously what Shay said, and like, people are already thinking about this, like, our generation just like is wired that way, to think, how can I make an extra income, and wanting to work from. Most of the people that I know that have degrees are already starting their own businesses on the side because they want to work from home. Like, that's just the millennials. So we already have that leg up, but also, like, just looking at it from a financial standpoint, when you look at all these people who are 45 years old, 50 years old, and they're self-made millionaires, they started when they were 30 or 35. And then you have people like us who started whenever we were 20 and 18 years old. How much better are we setting ourselves up for success in the future for our families? Like, that's such a huge thing for me. Like, I think about, like, what if I started whenever I was 18? Like, how much further would I be in this business, and how much, you know, more would we have been able to make and save and pay off debt, and being able to do that at such a young age, when all the rest of my friends are coming out of, you know, their 6-year degrees and they have $100,000 in student loan debt. And I'm not knocking that at all, but I'm saying, for me, choosing this path at such a young age was really helpful, because I paid off most of my debt. And so that just makes me feel really set up for the future success for my kids and for all of those things in the future. So I'm super glad that I did join young, even though it does have some disadvantages, but I like the fact that I do have that, you know, leg up. And then also for the mistakes that I've made, 110% what Shay said, like absolutely me, like I'm so red and I bulldozed my team, but and I said that with a D, like bulldozed. I don't anymore, hopefully, but I used to for sure. And then the other thing was, if I like added something to that, it would be the fact that enrollments are not as important as duplication. And if I had spent half the time enrolling and then spent the other time teaching my team to do that, I would already be double ambassador. I mean, okay, that's giving myself a lot of credit. I'm just saying, like, I'd be further along than I was right now. If I wasn't so focused on me and all of my personal enrollments and like the feeling good when that happens, and focus on my leadership and helping these people do what I was doing and create that in my team, so many more people would have stayed. I would have been a better leader way sooner. And something that helped me with that is the Craig Groeschel Leadership Podcast. It's so good. Just go listen to it on the podcast app if you have an iPhone. It's changed the game for me. So that's what I would definitely do differently, for sure.
I love that so much. What is one final tip that you guys would want to share that you want to leave with everyone, whether it's just something just to end this year strong, whether it's just something else that's on your heart that, you know, wasn't covered in one of the questions that I asked you guys, just anything at all that you want to leave us with?
Can I go first?
Yeah.
I have a team Zoom that's starting right now, so I'm going to jump off as soon as I finish. But so my tip really quick is that you can do absolutely anything that you put your mind to. And I think that so often we think of things that we want to do and then immediately tell ourselves why we can't do it. And we make excuses for why we can't get there. We say we want to do this, and then in your subconscious, you feel like you're unworthy, or you feel like everybody can get there but you. And you start to put yourself down, whether you know it or not. Subconsciously, you've already written this story in your head of why you're not good enough, why everybody else can do this but you can't, why you failed at everything else, so why are you going to succeed at this? But you can do anything that you put your mind to, and God has equipped you with every single thing that you need. And there's nothing that He has put inside of you that you lack to be able to get there. There's no reason that He would have put a dream inside of you just to laugh at you and be like, haha, just kidding, you're not ever going to get there. Like, if He put that dream inside of you and you're willing to do the work that it takes, you can absolutely do anything that you want to do. So I know that was like really short and simple, but that, I feel like so many of us need to hear that, like, yeah, you can do this. And if I'm the only one today who's told you that, you can do this.
No, I love that. That was absolutely perfect, Morgan. Thank you so much. I know you have to hop off for your team Zoom.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Bye.
Bye. Shay, what is your final tip you want to share?
So I love it when people ask this, even though I have like 100 that I could share. You know, I think one that would probably resonate with the most of you on here is 2 years ago this month, I went Presidential Diamond. And it was a promotion that I never thought that I'd ever accomplish in my life, because it seemed just too big and too far and too much. And who was I to think that I could ever go Presidential Diamond, living the life that I lived before this business? And it was October 1st. I wasn't even charted. I needed like 50 something distributors to even chart for the promotion, let alone pull in. I think we needed still like 40,000 in volume that month to go presidential. And I decided that month that it didn't matter what my volume was. It didn't matter how many boxes were at zero. It didn't matter how many boxes I needed to enroll, that we were going to go Presidential Diamond, because I made a decision, I shouted it out, and I declared it. And it wasn't just I'm going presidential, yay, I'm so excited. It was I'm freaking going presidential. No matter what happens, I will do whatever it takes, no matter what happens in my life, no matter what I feel. And the same thing happened when every month after that, I said, I'm going ambassador. I'm going ambassador. Oh my gosh, we're going to go ambassador. And a year after, so I declared ambassador for the first time, April of 2019, which was like, what is that, 6 months after I went presidential. And I knew that we were going to do it that month. I was like, this is the month. All my friends are going ambassador. I think Brittany went ambassador around that time. Ashley Mayfield. I mean, all these people, I was like, I'm for sure going ambassador. I didn't. And for exactly 365 days, I said I was going ambassador. We're going ambassador. We're going ambassador. And I read this devotional April 1st. Okay. And I don't know if any of y'all read this or not, but if y'all get on my devotional Zooms in the morning, this is what I read from. And page 33 talks about dream delay. And I remember doing a leader Zoom the beginning of April. And I talked about this dream delay because, guys, how many of you have missed a promotion? You have had this dream on your heart. You've had this goal set on your heart. You want to promote so badly that you can feel it in your being when you say what you want. And you just feel like you keep missing it. You keep missing it every single month. And as soon as you rebuild one side of your chart, the other side of the chart crumbles, or as soon as you make the decision, your team counts themselves out and all this stuff. And it said, I wonder if Noah felt the same way when you told him to build the ark. What a world-rocking dream. I can't imagine how excited he was when he knew that this vision, this desire, and this call in his life to invent the first boat ever built was going to happen. And then, according to Jewish tradition, he planted the seeds to the trees that would grow and provide the wood he would cut down to make the boat. Hold up, that's a decades-long dream delay. Wait for trees to grow? What did he do wrong? Was he being punished? Did Noah make you mad? No, the Bible doesn't say any of that. This was just a part of the process. Noah did all that you commanded, including being patient in the process and not getting discouraged while things developed. Maybe that's what I need to do. Instead of going on a witch hunt of what could possibly be wrong when things don't hum along as quickly and easily as I imagined they would, I just need to trust your timing. And so for 365 days, I built my team. I built leaders. I led them. I loved them. I showed up for them. I got up every time I fell. I had so much stuff happen in my life that I just kept getting up for, because I knew that, like Morgan said, if God was going to put this, plan on my heart and this desire and this goal, he wasn't going to not provide for me as long as I was doing the work. And I have a Bible verse that's always been on my dream board, and it said, it's Galatians 6:9, and it says, let us not become weary for doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And so April 2020, in the most trying time of the earth that we've ever been on, in the most confusing month ever, we went Ambassador Diamond because I didn't care how much volume we needed to pull in. And it was we pulled in 131,000 of new volume in 30 days. It was insane, you guys. And that's why I can tell you that it doesn't matter how much volume you need. It doesn't matter who on your team is working. It doesn't matter what legs you have to rebuild, who has crumbled, who has quit, because the team that you're meant to promote with will rise when it's time to happen. But in order for you to get those things, you have to understand that the valleys that you're going through, you can't try to trudge through them. You have to live through them. You have to figure out what it is that you're trying to learn, because in that moment that I told y'all that I wish I could take back from bulldozing my team, I learned the most about myself and my leadership capabilities in the valleys of my business. It taught me how to lead people where they were at. It taught me how to not ever get discouraged when I miss a goal, because it just wasn't meant to happen then. It taught me how to overcome the obstacles going on in my life. Like, guys, literally, I promoted myself to Diamond 2 months ago, got my dad to Diamond last month. I'm going double Diamond this month. I ended a 5-year relationship last month, and I still promoted. I had so much stuff going on in my personal life and my friend's life and my family's life, and stuff that I haven't even shared, because it's like, does this even happen to normal people? I don't think so. I must be going Black Diamond, because it's just one thing after another, but I've never wavered. And so I think that my tip to you is that you may be in a dream delay, but it doesn't mean that your dream is over. It doesn't mean that your dream is too big. It doesn't mean that you're unqualified for that dream. It just means that you're just not ready yet. And in order to get ready, you have to keep doing the things that are going to prepare you to be the leader that you're going to be. Because when I wanted to go ambassador, I couldn't have handled an ambassador team at that time, because I can barely handle it now. I'm over here like overstretched and stressed all the time and working super hard, but I'm prepared for it because I went through all the valleys that took me to get to that point. So that was a long-winded answer, but there you go.
No, that was so amazing. I put that book in the comments, you guys, for those of you who are asking.
It's free.
Yeah. Hi, God, one more thing. I've read the one, Hi, God, It's Me Again, and it's by the same author. And I can just say right now, that particular author, Nicole, how do you say her last name? Crank?
Yeah, it's Nicole Crank. All of her books are free when you go to her website, by the way, guys.
She is literally amazing. She is just so gifted with her delivery. And I just love so much that story that you shared, and how like Noah wasn't concerned with the process because he knew God was going to bless him through it all. And I think so often we can literally self-sabotage. Like we can be on the right track and then out of nowhere self-sabotage because we don't just stay the course. And so I love so much that you shared that, and just everything that you learned just on your path to ambassador. I vividly remember that month. I just want to say we were texting and all your updates. I'm like, she's doing it. She's freaking doing it. I have no doubt. And that was just such an inspiring month, I know, for anyone who was watching you. And I'm just so excited to see your team just to continue to shatter glass ceilings. And I know that everyone on here just took so much away from from your story, what's possible for them. Because if that didn't show you right now that you've been selling yourself short and putting yourself in a box, when you write yourself off on like the 25th, I remember Shay texting me on the 25th, you guys, and she still needed, how much was it, Shay? It was a lot, like 70, 80,000.
70,000 from
Yeah.
the 25th.
And then in like 5 days, did it. And so if you're not like fighting till the very end and staying faithful till the very end, just know like it could have been meant for you all along. But that's like what I mean by that self-sabotage, because so often God's like, just keep trusting me, just keep staying faithful, just keep staying the course. And when we don't, we miss our blessing, but it was by our own volition. And so thank you just so much, Shay, for sharing all that transparently. I know that for me, I've learned the most from people who share not just like, oh yeah, I did all this and all this and all this, but like, here's where I really learned the lessons. And I love so much that you shared that with everyone. Like it was the valleys of your business where you learned the most. That hit so hard for me too, because I can 100% relate. I look at the hardest moments I've been through and I know I wouldn't be the same person without it. So thank you so much for opening up and sharing all that. And for you guys taking time out of your night to be here. We love you guys and just appreciate y'all so much.
Bye.
Bye guys.